And so today we are here to share with the ASU community the ASU research schema in Redshift. So this is only 40 minutes. Unfortunately, we won't get to share everything with you, but hopefully this is just a taste, and we look forward to all the questions that you have. Let's see. Okay, so this session is intended for data knights and data wizards, I think, because we are sharing actual tables in Redshift, and hopefully you will be able to query those. We do have a lot of other resources on our analytics website at this link right here. If you prefer to do things in Excel, we have a lot of Tableau reports, Power BI reports, if you feel like downloading those or taking some snapshots of the images there. But this is intended for users that are a little more hands-on. So not everybody is familiar with Knowledge Enterprise and our team. Knowledge Enterprise is one of the 3 enterprises in the newly reorganized university structure that happened this past spring. We are led by Dr. Sally Morton. Some of you might be familiar with Dr. Sethuraman Panchanathan, who was our previous executive vice president, who we are now proudly excited to see that he is the director of the NSF. Knowledge Enterprise is tasked with leading all research-sponsored projects, entrepreneurial activities, strategic partnerships at Arizona State. And analytics is a core unit that supports all of these activities. And so our mission is to be responsible for all of the reporting that comes out of KE, the strategic decision support, and we serve as SMEs for the data within our data warehouse, which primarily consists of data in our sponsored administration system called the ERA, the Enterprise Research Administration. I like to group our activities into 3 chunks. The 3 bullets there is kind of routine ad hoc reporting. Faculty usually find out about my existence when they go up for promotion and tenure and then see a list of their proposals. And so then they realize that we exist and we are there to help them with their reporting needs. We create a lot of custom solutions. For example, Global Security Initiative has a specific report on our website for a list of faculty that they like to keep the track of in terms of their DoD activity. And we provide a lot of resources, guidance, and training. We just did an Excel training for the CSW conference that just came on. And then this is, we like to present at all of the university conferences such as this one to talk about our research data. So agenda for today. I am going to introduce you to some of the key terms used in our reporting. I am going to presume that most of you have really no experience in sponsored research, so you might not even know what the word research means or the word sponsored means, but all of you are very familiar with data. So you know that data terms have very nuanced meanings. And so here I like to introduce you to a few of those terms so that to avoid confusion. There are some things that are unique to our reporting. We have a specific unit hierarchy, and I will briefly go over that. All of our data through the ERA truly rests on the concept of recognition and what that means. And so we will also briefly share that. I'm going to go through a few FAQs that I sort of made up. Hopefully these will answer some of your questions, but you are of course welcome to send additional ones in. And then Maura would take over and do a quick demo in the last 10 minutes that we have in actual Redshift. We are working with UTO to update everything in Calibra. I am trying my absolute best to make sure that you do have documentation. But as with everything, everybody is really busy right now. So we did load some terms in there, but this is a work in progress. So hopefully you will see additional items being added into Calibra as the months continue. Okay, so diving right into the definitions. So the word sponsored is something that is used very often with our data, and this is not actually descriptive of every single research project on campus. Sponsored truly means that there is a sponsor. Someone is sponsoring you, like a chair in the Phoenix Symphony. You are being sponsored. This is an external entity that is paying us to do a project. And specifically in research administration guidelines, this project has to have a budget. So you have to tell the sponsor how much you're spending on what the reporting guidelines are, what are the deliverables, like I'm going to write papers, I am going to go to conferences, I am going to train X number of students. It needs to have a statement of work, kind of a, this is my hypothesis, this is my method, this is conclusions, that kind of a thing. And then there is administration associated with this sponsored project. So we have a whole office here, Knowledge Enterprise, that helps with the administration, from fiscal oversight to account setup to legal issues related to IP and possibly work on Native American lands, things like that. So the term sponsored truly means a project that has a lot of things associated with it. Research is a type of scholarly activity. It is by far the majority of our scholarly work on campus. About 82% of our sponsored activity is research, meaning exploration of new ideas and development of those ideas. With the last couple of fiscal years, a lot of our sponsored activity has actually been in instruction and in community service because of the CARES Act funding that goes out to our students, as well as vaccine delivery and the testing that the Biodesign Institute is doing. So a lot of that is community service. So when you are using these terms in your reporting, make sure you're careful whether you're using the word sponsored or research the way that you're actually intending it to. But in general, I like to think that there's kind of a technical definition, which I am sharing here, as well as a marketing definition. So a marketing definition would be, oh, research at ASU, we've got hundreds of millions, and you're probably going to be fairly inclusive in the way that you use it. But just be really careful if you're querying the data warehouse to make sure you know what the terms mean. All right, so diving into sponsor data, because sponsor data is routed through the ERA, and that is the data that is in our ASU research schema. You have to think of the data in three buckets. There's proposals, awards, and expenditures. So a proposal is something you're going to be writing and going to a sponsor and saying, I want to do this, here's my proposal, please give me the money. And if awarded, which could take months to even a couple years for you to hear back, it becomes an award, and then all of these extra things kick in. Multiple accounts get set up, the money could come in one big chunk or in multiple chunks over several years. It really depends on the specific award. And then faculty, researchers on campus start spending the money, which is expenditures. And of course, this will start tapping into a lot of workday data fields that you may already be familiar with. Our data is shared with you in primarily these three buckets. There's going to be proposals, awards, and expenditures. So to use these data, there are kind of three key things, three key concepts that I will be sharing with you. These are fairly confusing. When I first joined Knowledge Enterprise, it took me months to get these. And as I train new people and as I train other people across the university that have never heard of these before, it is truly confusing. So I hope that you will consider coming back to this video, rewatching it, or visiting our analytics website for additional training. And you are always welcome to email my team for questions. Okay, so I think this is probably the quote unquote maybe easiest one. This is really thinking about the university hierarchy. So we had to create our own hierarchy because there was not an easy one for us to use within the university. And in the ERA, there are three levels of hierarchy. So if you kind of think of it as city goes into a state, goes into a country, that's what I mean by hierarchy. There are three levels. It goes from the largest was a college to division to unit. And so above college would be just the university in general. So I have some examples for you. Let's do this one, the middle one first. So for example, the Department of Mechanical Engineering, it's got its own special HR code. It rolls up to a division level entity, which is 70, which in engineering is actually the school, right? But in terms of our hierarchy, we are putting it into the middle hierarchy, so it is called a division. And then the college would be engineering. KE, for example, would be a college level entity because we roll up to ASU. A division is actually biodesign, which rolls up to KE, and then each of the individual centers within biodesign will be a unit. So you can see I'm kind of mixing and matching. These are centers. This one here is an academic unit. Engineering does have its own research centers as well, so you can switch this out for, I'm blanking on CBBG, I think, is a center within FSE. So that would be a center, it would roll up to whatever division, or maybe it doesn't roll up to a division at all. Maybe it rolls directly up to the college, in which case, in my third example, this division part will be null. As you get more familiar with our reporting hierarchy, you will find that half the time the division is null because there isn't that secondary tier that is necessary for that college level entity. So that, I think, is a fairly kind of easy concept to understand. You just need to know when you're looking for a specific organization within ASU, is this going to be a unit level entity, a division level, or a college level? And sometimes it might be just a little bit of trial and error to kind of understand. And then once you see how we're doing our hierarchy, it's pretty self-explanatory. The other thing that you need to understand is department versus center recognition. So this is an analogy that the executive director, George Rodenbush, that hired me, taught me, and I really liked it because it made so much sense. And I am like an organizational laundry freak. So this analogy really made sense. When you are categorizing your closet, you can categorize it by type of clothes, pants, shirts, hats, or by color, right? Red, green, whatever. And it's the same type of thing because for our university. Because our university is so large and there are so many different ways to dissect the university, you can split the university up by academic units, so kind of engineering, MLFTC, law school, whatever. But there are also a lot of translational centers like biodesign, like the Center for whatever, that includes faculty from a lot of these different tenure home units. So to be able to view the university in those kind of cross-sectional views, you have to first decide, are you going to view the university by center, or are you going to view the university by department? So are you going to view your closet by color, or are you going to view your closet by type of clothes? And that's kind of the first decision you have to make in reporting, because $1 could be recognized to a home unit and or a center. And so if you're starting to mix and match, your numbers won't add up to 100%. They will get kind of confusing. So you do have to recognize, okay, I'm interested in biodesign. This is a translational center. Therefore, the type of view I need to use is center. And this will make a little bit more sense as we go into recognition. Okay, so we are going to go into recognition. And this is a somewhat confusing concept. Even a lot of research administrators that have worked here for a long time, I find are still a little confused with it because there is a disconnect between the forms that they fill out with the reporting that I do. And so it takes a lot of training and a lot of kind of using the data over and over before you get it. So I threw this in here. This is from my colleague, Vicki Krell, there in the college. And this is the form that she uses when faculty want to submit a proposal. So general type of information, this table right here is a table that I want to draw your attention to. This is the one for biodesign, and Lacey Ward, a colleague there, already threw in a couple names. So what they do there is they start typing in names, and then they have to type in a percentage here for the recognition. And this has to add up to 100 or the system errors out. So in the ERA, what we do is we ask people for, all right, here's a proposal. Please give me a list of people that are going to be on this proposal. Tell me the department they're in, the college, a center if they are in a center, or sometimes you might have faculty or researchers that are only in a center, like a postdoc appointment, a research scientist appointment, that are only in a center, biodesign center for whatever, but they don't have an actual academic department, in which case they will leave this part blank and just put the center. And then they have to put in the recognition percent. So this is basically in practice saying, all right, if there's 2 people on this project, we're going to do 50-50%. I'm going to do half the work. You're going to do half the work. So then we'll put 50%. But in some complicated projects, we might have 20 investigators, 30 investigators. Projects that are multi-million, multi-year might even have people go on and off, right? People retire, new faculty get added. Your workload changes, so you might go down from 50% to 20%, stuff like that. So things can change in the system as time goes on. But in general, let's say you've got 2 people, you fill this stuff out, you add the percent, it goes to 100. That sole table right there drives all of the money reporting in our system. So I will give you an example. This is an actual screenshot from a research project in our Enterprise Research Administration System, the ERA. I don't remember what it's called or anything, but you can see there's whatever, 7 people on this, and then you can see the rec percentage here that they themselves have self-identified. So this is not something that we in KE make up. This is something that when the faculty members decide they're going to submit a proposal, they are going to decide amongst themselves what is a percentage rec. For the purposes of this presentation, I am not going to go into RID and IIA. These are very nuanced. You can see the percentages can be different, but these are not our numbers that might affect your reporting if you're getting super nuanced. I would suggest you talk to your unit's research administrator if you're really interested in learning about these. Okay, so rec percent, these are the percents that we are used. The reason why I bring this specific example up is you can see that this allocation period, period 5, goes into these times right here. And there were actually 4 allocation periods prior to that one. And you can see I highlighted Antonio Garcia here. And this project started in 2015. You can see allocation periods 1 through 4, and you can see that his recognition percent actually changes over time. 16, 30, 30, 16. And so what this means is for this time period only to the day, this is the percent recognition that he's going to get. So what this means is this award, which is a multi-year award, seems fairly complicated based on the number of people and the fact that it spanned like 10 years. It's most likely going to have money coming into the award multiple times during the life of the award, once every year, once every 2 years, or whatever it is. So when the money comes into the system on that date, the recognition allocation that is applied is the one that is active during that date. So that means that if $100 came in on July 2nd, 2005, Antonio Garcia here is going to get $16 as his recognition. But if that money came in on July 2nd, 2007, 2 years later, he's going to get $30. And you can see this is 30 right here for his last and final allocation period. So it can change over time. And this is something that they agreed upon. And data, as all of you in the data community know, data is never final. It seems that data can always change retroactively, and this is definitely true for recognition data. Faculty might come and go, and they might want to retroactively change. You know what, I actually didn't do 30%, it's more accurate if I do 20, and all they have to do is just submit a form and work with a research administrator, and then the change is made in the ERA, and then it flows into our data warehouse. So it's pretty easy, but it does mean that if you do reporting retroactively trends, you might see the numbers fluctuate over time. It won't generally fluctuate a lot, but it might a little bit here and there. Okay, all right, moving onward. I need to shut up so Maura can get to her demo. I do want to quickly say, this is one of my favorite quotes. You are both a work of art and a work in progress. And I want to throw that in there to make you feel warm and fuzzy this Tuesday morning, but also because we are definitely a work of art. We're awesome, but also we are a work in progress. We are going to be sharing additional tables and things in ASU research. We are really excited that we are sharing it finally with the ASU community, and we will eventually be adding additional information in Calibra. So please bear with us as we work through the kinks and as we learn better about how to share data with the community. Okay, so I am going to kind of gloss over this so that we have time for Maura, but in general, I do want to make sure that some of your questions get answered. The tables will be updated monthly, and I do not have a specific date for you because what happens is we wait for Workday to close. We then audit the data, and sometimes that could take a couple days or a couple weeks. And then we publish the data. So the data are updated monthly. Please be really careful when you use the tables to see the last updated field to understand when that was updated. And the tables do start with RSM_, which means that these are the monthly tables. Eventually, we do hope to share an exact same number of tables that will be RSD, which will be daily updates. But obviously, the daily ones won't be validated. How do you get access? Submit a Workday ticket. Submit a ServiceNow ticket, please, for ASU sponsored research. For now, I would like you to just kind of be on the honor system saying that you have watched this webinar before you request access. I'm not going to be going through Zoom records, but I do want people to recognize that you can't just jump in there and just understand the data. It is going to be fairly confusing. Okay. So I'm just going to throw these in there so that they are in the recording, and we will share these slides, I believe. And now I am going to turn it over to Maura so that she can share the tables in Redshift.
Awesome. Thanks, Hansa. So give me 1 second. Let me get all my windows set up correctly here and share screen. Yes. Alrighty, so hello, I'm Maura. I work for Hansa. The tables that we have shared in the Redshift server consist of the tables from our quote monthly snapshot. So they're updated once a month. And I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of things you would probably look for in these tables. So in Redshift, Redshift data warehouse, we're going to come down here to ASU research. And then I just want to show you real quick what our tables are. So all of these are the monthly snapshots. So you'll see that there are a couple ones with similar names. So we've got int proposals and int proposal recognition. So the difference is that int proposals is literally just the proposals themselves, whereas proposal recognition has which investigator gets what percentage of recognition on that proposal. So if you were to come in here and want to get a list of proposals for maybe a certain unit, you could just select. I'm just going to limit this to top 20 for now, just so we don't have too many results. So ASU research. So in dbeaver, to select something from the list here, I've learned it's an enter, and I'm so used to tabbing everything, so I have to reteach myself that. So int proposals, oops, int, there it is. Proposals, enter. You'll see that it auto aliases. You can leave that if you want. You can delete it, whatever you want to do there. And then I'm going to say where reporting flag, proposal reporting flag, yes, equals Y. And the reason we do that is because there are some pre-proposal information that you don't use in formal reporting. There also might be some voided information. So just always make sure that you're using proposal reporting flag, yes. Okay, so first I'm just going to get the top 20 proposals here. We don't have it ordered by anything. I just want to see what it's going to give me. All right. Sorry. Sorry, my cat is right on my shoulder. The cat loves soon. Okay, so here we have our list of proposals. So you'll see that the column orders is a little interesting. It's not really that intuitive, but your important columns here: proposal number, when it was submitted, and then as we keep going through, you can see the proposal reporting status is the one that we always use in reporting. So that's whether it's been funded, denied, etc. And then here's your proposal title. And as you keep scrolling, you can find the sponsor, what sponsor type and group they are. So if you're looking for all industry proposals, I can show you how to do that in just a second. And then you also have direct sponsor. And let's see. The sponsor PI, so that's who the PI is on the proposal. So if you're looking for, you have a certain PI and you want to say how many proposals were they the PI on, you can look them up by their ID number here. Okay, and then lead unit, and then whether or not it's a consortium. Let me get this. So in proposals is at the grain of the proposal. If you're looking for investigator, that's when you would use the proposal recognition table. And this is the same for the interward and interward rec tables, the same correlation there. Okay, so I'm going to do one. I'm going to look up one where, let's see, we're going to do originating sponsor type as NASA. Originating sponsor type like, and this is a new thing I learned about Redshift. The like operator is case sensitive in Redshift. It's not the same in other servers, so just wanted to point that out to you. So if you do a lowercase NASA, right now that's uppercase, lowercase NASA, I don't think it's going to find it. Yeah, so it has to be, it is case sensitive, which is a little frustrating, but just keep that in mind. The like operator is we've got a question. Oh, thank you, Josh. So he says you can use I like, which is case insensitive. Thank you for that. So coming from a different SQL language, I did not know the I like existed. So good to know that in Redshift, you can use I like, and then you don't have to be case sensitive. So yes, Vivian. So in this case, NASA is all one word, so you don't need to use wildcards. But normally, yes, when you're using the like operator. So let me try sponsor group, and then I'll show you excuse me, and we'll do operator dir, right? So we know that's going to get us some federal stuff, but we need the wildcards in there to make sure we get the whole word of federal. And I'm still limited to the top 20, so our results set is still limited to that section. We're not looking at all federal proposals right now. All right. Okay, so let's move on to proposal recognition, because that's probably what you're going to be, the recognition tables are probably going to be more useful. So I'm going to go ahead and select, I'm just going to do top 10, all from ASU research.
So as Maura is doing that, I just wanted to point out again the difference between the proposal table and the proposal recognition. So just like you have to make a decision when you're using the data, whether you're going to do center recognition, center view or department view, you have to decide, do I only want data that's going to be the same at the proposal level, or do I want the list of individual investigators as well as their unique departments and their unique centers that they're going to be recognized? And I want the specific percents that they put in that table that I had shared. So that is truly the difference, is each proposal will show up only one time in proposals, but that proposal will show up as many times as there are investigators in the proposal recognition table, and then you're going to have to sum up the amount to equal kind of that 100% recognition. And it's the same type of logic for award and award recognition. And as you're starting out with this database, I would recommend just staying with kind of the proposals, awards, and that expenditure table. And then as you get a little more comfortable, start playing with some of the other ones.
Okay, so I've written a basic query here to find the top 20 proposal recognition for Dr. Josh LeBaire, who's the director of the Biodesign Institute. I like to pick him because he has a lot of data, and also it's differing in the types of data that he has. So I'm also ordering it by the newest submission dates so that we can just get some newer information. So here we go. Let's control enter. So investigator full name, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not caring so much about PI, this is where he's getting the recognition as the investigator. So the first couple of columns are all date fields, and then you'll see here's the proposal number that's same as on the other table. Proposal reporting status, again, this is the one that we usually use in all of our reporting to show whether they've been funded, denied, etc. And then as we scroll over, we're going to see the, let's see, where is it? Reporting, here we go. Reporting home unit.
Some of the fields you'll notice there's a reporting version as well as just kind of the name. So the name of it without the word reporting is kind of as it was entered, but then because things change over time, we do have crosswalks for reporting. So I suggest when you're first playing with it, just use the reporting one. But if you want to know exactly what was entered in the form, then it would be the original. Maura, we're running out of time. I believe this ends at 9. Is it 9:50 that we end, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So can we, I just want to make sure we have time to go to awards for this right here. Can you just do a select and just do a list of proposals and then a sum of the recognition that he has? So for every proposal, we see how much he has.
Yes, okay. So proposal number, sum, amount, and that is total, oh gosh, total, I'll just call it total. All right, that should work. I don't think, well, just
group by total number.
Sometimes it doesn't need a group by and sometimes it does. Okay, there we go. Ugh. Oh, just kidding. I'm paying attention this morning. Okay, here it goes. All right, so here's all of his proposals and then the recognition that he received on.
Right, so it's actually not exactly total. So this is the amount that Josh LeBaire is recognized on each of these proposals. And this is probably not the full amount of the proposal because this is only what he is recognized on.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever percent he put in there. And proposals are a kind of snapshot in time. They're submitted on a specific date. So you're not going to have the same proposal in there at multiple dates. There are proposals that are revised or resubmitted, but as you can see there in row 301, there's one that has an underscore REV3, which means this is the third revision that that specific proposal has been submitted for. So there are some terminology nuances and things, and this will be fairly self-explanatory for you if you are already familiar with the ERA, but this is something that just feel free to let us know what your use case is. Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of columns that are in there. And your RA will most likely know a lot of these terms too, because they're the same ones that are used in the ERA.
Okay. Do you want me to move on to awards and we can join into sponsors?
Yeah, go ahead and do award recognition because that is an example of where you will start getting the same proposal multiple times because every single time money is shared for that award, it will trigger a new set of tables. Just like if you guys remember that table with Antonio Garcia, every single time there's new money, there will be additional tables or additional rows. And then also this is kind of I'm just going to throw it out there. If you have any questions right now, anything, feel free to throw it in the chat and we can answer it here.
So I'm right now just getting a list of all award recognition for Dr. Josh LeBaire. And actually I'm going to sneak in one of my little parameters to limit it to the last 10 years. So
and can you actually do in the select, can you do fiscal year and then the sum of the amount?
Yes.
Let's do fiscal year and the award.
Award number?
Yeah, fiscal year, award number, and sum of the amount. And let's order it by the award number. I want to show people that the same award will show up multiple times.
Okay, so we're selecting fiscal year, award number, and the total obligated amount for Josh LeBaer, and we're ordering it by the award number. So
yeah. So one thing I didn't have her do is fiscal month. So for row 2 and 3, it looks kind of the same, but if you pull out fiscal month, you'll notice that for some reason, oh, sorry, no, those are not the same. 5 and 6, I guess. Well, there's a 0. Okay, you know what, let's do 16. Sometimes there's a 0 in there. It could be cents, or it could be there was a negative amount applied to that account at some point. But you can see 16 onward, it's the same award. And so sometimes if it's in the same fiscal year, there might be additional money depending on this fiscal month. Like it could be multiple times in a year. So that's why there could be multiple records for that. Yeah. Any questions? We don't have any right now. Okay.
and then I'm also going to show you, well, if we have time, do we have time to do a quick join to the sponsors table?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to keep my LeBaer right here. Join ASU Research. And it's going to be the sponsors.
So there are 2 sponsor fields. You'll notice there's a direct sponsor field and an originating sponsor field. Those of you that are familiar with these data will know what they mean, but basically we can have money that's bypassed through something else. For example, if we are working with U of A on a research project, there can only be one institution that the sponsor sees as the lead. The NSF is not going to be like, I'm going to send half the money here and half the money there. There's going to be one institution that's going to be the lead. So if U of A is a lead, then U of A will be the direct sponsor on this award, and then the NSF will be the originating. Oftentimes, these 2 sponsors are the same, and usually in reporting, depending on your need, I'm looking at trends. So I want to know where the money originated came from. It's more meaningful for me to know the money came from NSF than from U of A, so I suggest using originating. But if you want to know exactly where it came from, perhaps our partnerships, then you might be interested in joining on direct sponsor ID instead of originating.
Okay, so now I'm just going to select the sponsor name from the table I joined, and I'm going to get the total amount that Josh LeBaer has been recognized for each sponsor. Here we go. You can also pull out the different sponsor groups off of the sponsor table. So if I didn't want the sponsor name and instead I wanted to get a little bit more categorical, we'll go sponsor group or sponsor type even. And let's just go sponsor group. Tabbing. Enter. Here we go. So now here's the sponsor groups, all of Dr. Josh LeBaer's recognition for the group. So that's pretty cool. Makes it nice grouping there. And anytime you need to check the data, you can go ahead and cross-reference our monthly pivot table. The pivot table is the last 10 years of data. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the tables, it includes everything, but in the pivot table, it's just 10 years.
You have to be a little careful of the date because our pivot table, when we publish the data, I think this was October 18th is the set for here. It's going to include the first 18 days of October, but in our pivot table, we do cut it off at the previous fiscal month just so that it's a monthly type of publication. So this will include data through whatever many days in the current month. So depending on your reporting, you just have to be really careful if you want to exclude the current fiscal month or not. Okay, well, we have a few seconds left. Are there any additional questions or
any questions?
I think we can, you understand right now?
I'm just curious now.
Yeah, so actually all of these fields do come from the ERA, the RA community that requests new sponsors that are added. The reason why we are such sticklers on please tell me an address is so that we can have these database fields so people can query how much do we get from state of California and how much do we get from certain places is for data quality reasons.
So here I've ordered it by the state name, and you can see what recognition he's been
Yeah.
for the different sponsor types in Arizona.
Okay.
Awesome. There looks like there's a chat here. Oh, just thank you. Okay, thank you.
Well, you know where to find us. We are at keanalytics@asu.edu. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to work with you on your specific needs.